With the release of Stardew Valley 1.6, Concerned Ape has released even more content. Stardew Valley is now an absolutely huge game and is packed up to the top with amazing features. In this video, we are going to discuss tons of updates that you may have missed through all of your playthroughs in Stardew Valley. The first update we're going to talk about is the fact that pets can now give you gifts. To activate this, you just have to get your pet to max friendship. Once that is obtained, you'll receive a cool message in the mail saying your pet loves you very much, and every day there's a chance your pet may give you a gift. Now the gifts do change depending on the type of pet you have, whether it be a cat, dog or turtle, but some of the gifts are absolutely amazing. Next up, we are going to talk about the amazing and funny baby crit. When you have a baby in Stardew Valley, you can toss your baby up into the air. If you toss your baby up enough times, you will perform what's called a crit toss and you will send your baby flying up like a rocket. It is very funny to see, and I recommend all you parents out there not to try it at home. When you notice it the first time, it really catches you off guard if you don't see it coming. I didn't know what a baby crit was when 1.6 came out, so when it did happen to me, I almost lost my stuffing. The next update we're going to talk about is the changes made to the community centre. One subtle change has been made and it's absolutely amazing. When you complete the fish tank bundle in the community centre, it now turns into an actual functional fish tank. That's right, you can now put fish into this beautiful fish tank to make the community centre even more beautiful than what it already is. Not only that, but more items can now be added to the fish tank that you couldn't add before. Some items include the ancient sword, Mayor Lewis's purple shorts, the pineapple, Joja Colas, knotless shells, rainbow shells, clay and hardwood. This means for a much greater aesthetic when it comes to fish ponds in Stardew Valley. So you can now have way cooler farms and you can have a nicer community centre. There's tons of different types of fish tanks you can get in this game, so I look forward to seeing what people do with that. Let's discuss the quality fertilizer. This has been reworked and it's now much cheaper to make. It's now much more effective because you can use it much earlier in your playthroughs thanks to the new map requirements. Originally, in the 1.5, to make one quality fertilizer, you needed 2 sap and 1 fish. Now that was quite the cost, especially early on, because all the fish you would have got, you definitely would have sold. But now, to make 2 quality fertilizer, you just need 4 sap and 1 fish. So you do need a bit more sap, but you still just need 1 fish, but you're getting double the fertilizer. So you can now make a lot more quality fertilizer a lot earlier, and if you put quality fertilizer on your crops in the early game, you're going to get much more money for those crops because you're going to be much higher quality. So it is definitely worth looking at the quality fertilizer when you're starting up your new farm and you're doing a heavy crop playthrough. It's certainly going to be a game changer, especially if you want to squeeze out as much cash as you possibly can. Farming is still quite overpowered in Stardew Valley, and I imagine farming will always be overpowered because it's one of the primary mechanics of the game, because there's so many things you can farm. So if you are starting a new file, or even if you're on an endgame file, you should look into quality fertilizers because they are a huge money maker. It's also worth noting that you can use any fish to make a quality fertilizer. This means that the crab pots are now much more valuable, as you can get hundreds of fish with those every single day. With the release of 1.6, a new resource has been added to the game, and that resource is moss. Now there are loads of functions for moss, and it is really cool, but you might not like the look of moss on your trees. So you can use Vinegar, which is a new update that will eliminate moss from your trees. It will also prevent your trees from spawning in moss again, which is really cool. So if you don't like the aesthetic of moss on your trees, if you have no need for moss in general, you can use Vinegar no problem at all. Next up, we are going to talk about great quality of life changes made to the community quest board. Now, if you have completed a quest on the community quest board, you will receive a nice little green tick at the bottom left hand side of the quest panel. This wasn't there before, and sometimes it made it very hard to find out if you have already done that quest or not. So it's a great way of selecting the right quests if you want to speed up progression on perfection, because in order to get perfection, you have to craft every item in the game. That means there's a lot of community quests you're going to have to take on. Great changes have been made to the slime hutch. Not only is it now smaller, so you can fit a lot more in your farm, but you can now move the starter egg incubator, which is absolutely amazing. This will allow for greater customization inside of the slime hutch. Not only that, but you can now change the floor type of the slime hutch. That's right, you can put a huge array of different floor decorations down on the slime hutch, and these floor decorations will not prevent your valuable slime balls from not spawning in. They will still spawn in. You just have to be very careful with the crafted floor tiles that I'm just putting on right now. If you put these down, the slime balls will not spawn on these, but they will spawn if you use the regular floor decorations, just so you know. With all of the updates now applied to slime hutches, my advice would be to have at least one slime hutch on your farm. Even if you're not a fan of slime farming, you should have at least one because it unlocks the ability for slimes to drop slime eggs. You could even build one slime hutch, get Robin to demolish it or get the wizard to demolish it, and the slimes will still drop the slime eggs. Once you unlock the ability, it doesn't actually go away. Here is just a quick picture of how small the slime hutch is now. It's just so tiny. And here is just proof that if you put down the regular decoration flooring, you'll still get your valuable slime balls. So customize away to your heart's content. Next up, we're going to talk about a great quality of life change made to Robin when she puts buildings down on your farm. When you go into her menu right now and you get her to craft a building, there will now be a little timer on the top right hand side of the screen that will tell you how many days it would take for Robin to make that craft. Some are instant, some require 2 days, and some buildings require 3 days. This is an absolutely amazing update because it will allow you to plan out your time much better, knowing when Robin will finish crafting that structure for you. We're now going to talk about a nice subtle update that not many of you might not have noticed. If you haven't noticed this one, then say the word blob inside the comments section, just for some giggles. But I'm going to zoom in here now. I'm going to show you an artifact spot. But what you're going to notice is that this artifact spot is of a different color to what you normally see. This one is green. Artifact spots that now contain new seeds are green rather than regular spots, which are brown. Just so you know. So if you do see artifact spots and it's green, that's going to have the new seed type in it for you. Originally, we could give our horse triple shot espressos, coffees, and it would give the horse a speed buff. We can now give our horse carrots, and you can get carrots in spring by hiding them up out of the ground. You can get them from mystery boxes and other places. The carrot will also give your horse a really cool speed buff, which is absolutely amazing. Lots of updates have been given to the Stardew Valley farm animals in the 1.6. One really cool update is that if you close your animal doors at night, they will get a small friendship boost with you. This is very important early on because if you can maximize the friendship points on your farm animals, they will yield much better quality products, and some of them will even give you more of a certain type of product as well. Not only that, but if you combine this tip with the Meadowlands farm bluegrass, you will notice your animals getting max out friendship in record time. Remember folks, a happy animal is a money making animal. The next quality of life change is actually a bit of a downgrade to trees rather than an upgrade. Tree stumps now no longer drop seeds. Now it is still worth leaving the tree stumps there because it does conserve energy and you do get a lot more wood and experience from cutting down the base tree. So early game I would still recommend you cut down the trees but leave the stumps, and then you can always come back later on when you have a better axe, when you have more energy, when you have more resources, and you can just get rid of the stumps. Unless of course you really need a space on your farm. But just bear in mind that the stumps don't give you seeds anymore. To all of those perfectionist players out there, the gold clock functionality can now be toggled on and off. If it's toggled on, you will see the handles of the time and they do move, which is really cool. If it's off, you just won't see the handles at all. So it's just not a really cool update. With the release of the 1.6, some other wacky functions have been included. One of these has been the option to drink Mayo. Now, this isn't something you do in real life, but technically you can drink Mayo, and I suppose if you look at how realistic Stardew Valley is, it makes sense that this would be a functionality inside the game. Who's to say you can or cannot drink Mayo? If you like it, fair enough. But what you might not know is that you can also drink and eat other things as well. Did you know that you can also eat pickles? And you can also eat jellies? You couldn't eat those originally, but you can eat those now. And it just makes for some cool fun that you can have in the game. There is, I believe, a Mayo tournament going on at the moment, or there's some sort of a speedrun Mayo event. If you want me to take part in that, let me know in the comments and I can throw down with the rest of them. You can now change the background of the in-game menus. So for all of you interface lovers out there, if you don't like the way the current menu is, there's now 3 options. You have the standard, which makes the game background darker. You've got none, which is no effect, and graphical, which shows the Stardew Valley mountains rather than the game. Now, they're not the most amazing of changes, but it's nice to have a couple of options there. So if you do prefer one over the other, then nice one, I suppose. There are an absolute ton of UI mods out there, so I can definitely see this update getting expanded over the next couple of years. And that is it, folks. Huge shout out to all my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. There's a 100-day video incoming. Stay tuned for that.